good. There's a new Nikon out. The Nikon D3400 or D3400, which is what it should be called. Oh, that is so cool. Look at that. It comes in like Funkadelic purple even. Look, you can get it in black or Funkadelic purple. Let's talk about this new camera from Nikon. No. 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 I would never recommend anybody buy, ever, a D3000 or D5000 series camera. $650 for this crotch cricket of a camera? No. No. You know, if you get this as a gift, then ask for a receipt so you could return it and buy a real camera, or take the money and go buy a real camera. $650 will buy you a real camera. Why would I never recommend one of these damn cameras? I call them dinkies. It's kind of like what... That's not to say you can't get great results from the cameras, okay? Here's the reason why you should never buy one. This is also the reason why you should never buy a new car. There's a audio show up in Boston, and it's called Click and Clack. The car guys are basically gods of cars, and they warn people, never buy a new car. Never. Now, I buy some new cameras. Like when they come out, there just aren't any used ones, so I buy a new one. No, there's just no way. You should never buy this thing for many reasons. For that kind of money, for $650 for this dinky, you know, toilet bug of a camera, you could buy something real, like a refurb D7100. Well, why would you want like a refurb D7100 for like $500, which would be $250 less than this thing? Let's take that 650 bucks. That will buy you a Nikon D7100 like new condition, plus about 5 lenses. You know what this camera can't do? It doesn't actually have a screwdriver motor on there to drive like D-series autofocus lenses, and there are decades and millions and millions and millions of D-series autofocus lenses, and this little POS can't drive any of them. What else can it do? It has no setting for non-CPU lens data settings for like using AI and AIP. Here's the great irony, and I'm going to tell you the real secret, okay? And then you better listen closely, boys and girls. The secret of this camera is, while you think that this camera is cheap, it's actually more expensive. How the hell does that work? It's kind of like buying a breed of car that requires super expensive tires. I used to have a $6,000 Cannondale Road Bike, and the tires on that thing, when they'd pop, I mean, I'd go, oh my god. The tires were 60 bucks a piece. You can't use D-series lenses and AIS lenses on these damn cameras. So the camera ends up, you get a cheaper camera, it ends up being more expensive. And the way the camera works is it doesn't work without a lens. And don't buy it. This is the same reason for $6,000 I could buy a used Rolls Royce, no lie, or I could buy like one of those little dinky cars that looks like, you know, if you ever got in a car wreck with it, you're guaranteed to die, like, and there's a little wind up to like, would you rather buy a used Rolls Royce for $6,000 or one of those little cars that looks like you could fold it up like a flip phone and stick it in your pocket? I'll never recommend these cameras. I'm never going to talk about these cameras because they're a bad value. Nobody should ever buy one. Actually, I would own one of these, and I would love to own one of these under one circumstance only. If it was broken and someone handed it to me, I'd take it apart and fix it, and then I would remove the infrared pass filter. These crappy cameras, they make really good full spectrum conversion cameras, and it will be a camera that I would love to have. I love shooting infrared and UV and full spectrum cameras, so I would love this camera if and only if it were broken, and I could tear it apart and fix it and remove the infrared pass filter and turn it into a full spectrum conversion. Cameras are like, oh yeah. But no, you should never buy this stuff, and for $650 you could get a real damn camera. See, this is what you're missing. The lenses for this thing are expensive. You're getting a cheaper camera, but you gotta buy more expensive lenses. The modern lenses. Yeah, you see how that works? It's kind of like if you got two cars, it's like, well, this car, here's a perfect example. Just imagine this. Well, this car is $1,000 more, but the gas it takes is $2 a gallon. This car is, a lot less money, but the gas it runs on is $6 a gallon. Which is the cheaper car? The more expensive car that runs on $2 a gallon gas, or the cheaper car, which is not cheaper, that runs on $6 a gallon? Never buy these damn cameras. I call them dinkies for a reason. I don't want to talk about them. I'll never recommend them. I don't give a damn what they cost. If you found one for like $50 in a garage sale and it still works, it'd be like, fine. Use that and like give it to your child as an introductory toy to learn photography. In which case, I would recommend buying one. It's like, hey, you found one that's working for $50. Go ahead and buy it. Give it to your teenager. Of course, teenagers only use iPhones now. They're too stupid to use a real camera. Maybe you could get them into real photography. Of course, that is not an entry point for real photography either. So, hooray! Thanks, Nikon, for releasing another dinky model that needs expensive lenses and doesn't use D-series screw drive lenses and doesn't take AI lenses and AIS lenses. Hooray! It's a cheaper camera that requires more expensive lenses. In which case, I answer, no. No. Epic no. I'm actually going to give it 2 thumbs down. Screw dat.